Hi, my friends. Today I want to present you a new story. Enjoy watching it.
The letter looked out of place on my desk. Heavy cream paper, sealed with wax as if it had been sent from another century. My hands trembled as I broke it open. The words inside blurred until I blinked twice, certain I'd misread. To my niece Abigail, my estate, valued at $25 million, belongs entirely to you. I dropped into my chair, stunned. Aunt Willow. The aunt everyone had dismissed as eccentric, the one my parents rarely spoke of. She had chosen me. Me, of all people. The attorney's note explained her reasoning. She admired your resilience. My throat tightened. She had been watching me all these years, quietly, silently, while I struggled through life's storms. I grabbed my phone and dialed Philip. Phil, you won't believe this. Aunt Willow, she's left me. He cut me off, his voice brisk, distracted. Abigail, I'm in the middle of something. We'll talk when you get home. But, later. The line went dead. I'd exhaled, half angry, half determined. He deserved to hear it properly, face to face. Maybe this would be the miracle we had been waiting for, the chance to pay off debts, to breathe again. I slid the papers into my bag and started the car. The late afternoon sun painted the road in streaks of gold, and for the first time in years I felt hope pulsing through me. I even laughed out loud, imagining Philip's astonishment. Then it happened. The brakes failed. The pedal sank beneath my foot with a sickening nothingness. My heart leaped into my throat. No, no, no. I yanked the wheel. But the car shot toward the guardrail. Metal screamed, glass shattered. My world flipped, once, twice, before darkness swallowed everything. I woke to the beeping of machines, pain searing every limb. My ribs burned, my leg was bound in thick plaster, tubes ran into my veins. A nurse leaned over. You're awake, don't try to move. My lips cracked. Philip, is my husband here? Her silence was answer enough. Days passed. No flowers, no visits, no whispered reassurances. Only the sterile hum of hospital machines and the gnawing question, where is Philip? And in that emptiness, a chill thought grew roots. Perhaps the inheritance that had promised me salvation had instead signed my death warrant. Recovery blurred into a haze of antiseptic air and whispered footsteps in the hallway. Weeks passed, yet not once did Philip appear. No hand on mine, no reassuring smile. Only absence. One morning, a nurse wheeled in a small television. News headlines scrolled across the screen until my heart froze at the words. Prominent businessman Philip Marlowe remarries. My breath caught. On the screen, Philip stood at the altar beside a striking young woman in a silver gown. Their smiles were dazzling, their hands clasped like lovers who had never known grief. My pulse hammered. This can't be real. He's still married to me. The nurse hesitated, pity clouding her eyes. Mrs. Marlowe, the official reports said you died in the crash. The words sliced deeper than broken bones. Dead. They had declared me dead. Later that evening, I called the attorney whose letter had changed everything. My voice cracked as I demanded, "Did you tell anyone about the inheritance?" "Yes, of course," he replied, calm, almost oblivious. "Your husband was the first informed." "Why?" I gripped the phone so tightly my knuckles turned white. "Because he buried me alive." That night I stared at the ceiling, fury and disbelief wrestling inside me. Had Philip planned this? The brake failure, the silence, the sham of a funeral? Or had he simply seized opportunity when the world believed I was gone? My reflection in the dark window looked foreign, hollow eyes, bruised skin, a phantom of who I once was. If I am a ghost to him, then so be it. I will haunt him with the truth. My voice barely a whisper. I made a vow into the sterile air. "Philip, enjoy your new bride. You've stolen my life, but I swear I will return to take it back." I left the hospital with nothing but a folder of medical bills and the clothes a nurse had donated. My body still ached, but rage kept me moving. The first place I went was my parents' old home, seeking comfort. Instead, the door was opened by a stranger. "You're trespassing," he snapped. "This property belongs to Philip Marlowe now." I staggered back. My family home transferred without my knowledge. The ground beneath me felt unsteady, as though the crash had never ended. Later, I confronted my lawyer again, shoving the property record across his desk. How did Philip get his hands on this? He adjusted his glasses, avoiding my eyes. Your inheritance was transferred to a joint trust. He was listed as sole beneficiary upon your death. My death? My voice cracked like glass. I am standing right here. The lawyer flinched but said nothing. The silence screamed complicity. That evening, I wandered the city streets until dusk fell. My aunt's inheritance, every dollar of it, had been meant for me. Now it had become their wedding dowry. I dialed Philip's number, my hand trembling. Against all odds, he answered. Philip, I said, my tone icy. Did you ever mourn me? A pause. Then his voice, calm, almost rehearsed. You shouldn't have called. For both our sakes, stay gone. Click. The words echoed like a verdict. Stay gone. He wanted me erased, forgotten, buried twice over. I clenched the phone, whispering to the night. You may own my wealth, Philip, but not my truth. You betrayed me, and blood always remembers. For the first time since the wreck, I felt alive. Not as his wife. Not as a victim, but as a storm gathering strength. I attended their charity gala disguised in a black veil, my presence masked as just another socialite. The ballroom glittered with chandeliers, the clink of champagne glasses masking darker undercurrents. At the center stood Philip and his new wife Darcy, my ghost in silk. Her smile was dazzling, but I saw the calculation behind it. When she leaned close to Philip, her hand lingered on his chest, staking a claim that was never rightfully hers. I edged closer, listening. We've secured everything now, Darcy whispered, her lips barely moving. The board believes I'm the rightful heir by marriage. No one dares question it. Philip gave a short nod. Then all that remains is keeping her absence permanent. A chill slid down my spine. Permanent. They had plotted my erasure not just legally but perhaps physically. I slipped toward the terrace for air, but Darcy's voice followed me. Darling, don't look so grim. The dead don't rise. Her laughter rang out like shattered glass. I couldn't stop myself. I turned, stepping from the shadows. Funny, I said, my voice low but steady. I hear the dead walk among us every day. Darcy froze, her glass trembling. Philip's eyes widened, then narrowed into steel. You, he hissed. I tilted my head, the veil hiding my expression. Surprised? You shouldn't be. Ghosts always come back to collect their debts. For a heartbeat, silence ruled the night air. Then Darcy recovered, her smile returning like a blade sliding free. If this is some cruel jest, you've chosen the wrong audience. But I saw it, the flicker of fear behind her practiced elegance. She knew I wasn't gone. I leaned close enough for only them to hear. Enjoy the wealth while it lasts. The knife behind the smile always cuts the hand that wields it. Their faces drained of color, and in that instant I knew. The war had only begun. With my lawyer Cameron, we gathered enough evidence. Document forgery, my death certificate, fraud, and my funeral while I was still alive. We handed over all the materials to the police and filed a lawsuit. A month after all investigative actions were completed, a court hearing was scheduled. Abigail recognizes a large heart-shaped birthmark on Darcy's wrist and realizes that Darcy is actually her biological daughter, the child she gave up for adoption 19 years ago. At the time, she was living in poverty in the slums of the city and could not afford to raise a child. The courtroom buzzed with whispers as the revelation shattered my world. Darcy was my daughter. Tears welled in Darcy's eyes as she turned toward me, her lips parting in disbelief. You're my mother? She whispered. I could barely nod, my voice breaking. Yes, my darling. Always. In that moment, no chains of lies could hold us. We embraced, and for the first time in years, I felt whole. The trial pressed on. Cameron, my lawyer, laid out the evidence: fraud, bigamy, and the mechanic's damning report. The car accident wasn't chance, he declared. Philip cut the brake hose. Gasps rippled through the courtroom as Philip's mask finally fell. The gavel struck when the judge ordered his arrest. He was led away in cuffs, his empire crumbling. Freedom bloomed like spring air. I retreated to my late aunt's estate, where Darcy and I planted fresh roots, literal and emotional. Darcy and her adoptive parents often joined us, helping revive the gardens that had once symbolized loss but now promised tomorrow. What nearly destroyed me had instead remade me. Among roses, family, and pages of my writing, I found peace and rebirth.
Friends, what do you think of this story? Write your opinion in the comments. Would you like more stories? Don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell button so you don't miss any videos. See you tomorrow.